must say I'm feeling very undecided about the Caribbean, about this project of moving my boat here and keeping her here 12 months of the year and flying out and sailing her around the islands and so on. It seemed from the UK like a really, really good idea, and the moment that COVID permitted it, here's the mask, I jumped on a jet plane and I flew out to Martinique and to have a look at the Marina. Let me say, the Marina is superb, and I think you would find that most marinas in the Caribbean are just head and shoulders above anything you would get in the UK. I mean, the facilities here are absolutely first rate. There's a little shop on the site. There's a big supermarket just across the road. There are stainless steel shops. There are sail lofts. There are riggers. There is absolutely everything you could want. Security is excellent. Everything about the place is absolutely first rate. The only question is, do you really, really want to be in the Caribbean for more than 6 months of your life? I confess, 20 years ago I was here. I had a couple of years here. I sailed all the way up the island chain, all the way down the island chain, moved around a bit, got bored and went to Panama and went to the Pacific. Mind you, I do have a low boredom threshold. I don't know what to say. I'm going to spend this day making this video about Martinique Marina and about the facilities and what you get here, and then later on when I get back to the UK, well, when I get back to France, I'll sit in my armchair and I'll lay out the facts and figures and the numbers and the costs and so on. I mean, certainly it's the same money or less keeping your boat here as it is keeping it in the UK. Probably less. Cost of living, about the same as the UK. What's the Caribbean like? Well as wrecking this marina, I've got a hire car and I've driven all the way around the island and I've visited all the important places. I've visited all the towns, I've visited the capital, I've been to the other marinas that are here. There is a lot of poverty, and that's true of the whole of the Caribbean. There are a lot of very poor people here. And even in Martinique, which is a French department, I mean, it is actually part of France, which is why it's so easy for me to travel here. Even with that, there seem to be a large number of people living on the breadline, a large number of people without a lot of money. Equally, there's an awful lot of people here, an awful lot of local people here with nice cars, and they're living in apartment blocks and getting on fine. But the trouble is, there is no sort of centre. You know, like in England, there's a pub and there's houses around it and there are central places. Once you leave the marina area with its beach bars, and they are primarily bars for tourists, they're primarily bars for people who rented their boats here and have 2 weeks holiday, 3 weeks holiday or whatever, and they want to go to bars and it's all exciting and lovely. Once you get past that, there really isn't a lot else. There isn't much in the way of interesting shops, there isn't much in the way of history, there isn't much in the way of culture. So I am undecided. Okay, so this is the main entrance onto the pontoons. As you can see, most of this is pretty expensive charter boats. They're all hire boats, and frankly, this is the mainstay of this marina, I think. There must be, I don't know, 100, 150, 200 catamarans for charter here. And it's full of people making them clean at the moment, ready for the season, I guess. There are a few monohulls for sale, always quite big. I mean, nothing out here is less than, I don't know, 40 foot, 12 meters. That's the sort of minimum size. when, if I bring Golden Haze out here, she's going to be one of the very smallest boats in the Marina at 12 meters, 32 foot. So that's definitely a difference with being in the Caribbean. These catamarans are obviously absolutely lovely boats to have out here, because mainly you go on anchor, occasionally you come in here. You can rent them with a skipper or without a skipper. And they're for parties, I guess if there's a party of, I don't know, eight of you, 10 of you, then actually the fairly significant charter fees become less significant. As you can see, the pontoons are beautifully kept. I mean, it's all very efficient. There's proper gas, proper water, proper electricity. You can have a power cable fed to, not all, but many of the points. You can have a power cable fed to it, which supplies you with Wi-Fi direct. It's like a sort of fixed line router, and you also can have a telephone, a fixed telephone, if that's what you want, and it's relatively inexpensive. There is Wi-Fi throughout the Marina, but I gather the strength varies. It's something I haven't really been able to test. So this end is a bit more, this is the far end, and this end is a little bit more the monohulls, small boats. I mean, there are stacks of people here who live in America, live in Canada, live in France particularly, who keep their boats out in Martinique. I mean, the airfare is about 300 quid return out here, so that's bad. The prices of this Marina, well, I'm going to tell you about them in a minute, but I mean, for my Beneteau 323, the price is around 2,800 a year, 2,900 a year, plus water, which you have to pay for, and plus electricity, which comes with bonjour monsieur, plus electricity, which you get a certain amount, but if you're running aircon in your boat, then clearly you're going to need more than that. This area is closer to the mangrove swamp, and a bit further in, and very well protected. So, I mean, if a hurricane does hit, then this area will be pretty well protected from that. I'm going to walk down to the end of the marina, so I can show you where all the boats are which are out on mooring buoys. You can also rent a mooring buoy permanently. This is the poverty end of it, I guess. This is the end where the people with just monohulls have. All the rest of the marina, 70% of it is covered in these huge charter catamarans. This is the end of June, and it's the end of the well, I hope it's towards the end of the mega COVID problem, June 21, that is. There are boats out here sailing, but only a few, simply because people haven't been allowed to travel. I was probably one of the first people to travel out of France to Martinique, and if I came from the UK, I would have a problem because I would have to quarantine for 15 days when I got back, which is probably not the most ideal thing. So it's quiet. I imagine in winter time it is heaving. I would imagine from October, November, December, January, February, March, this place is absolutely heaving with people. At the moment, it's fine. I wouldn't be here at this time of year with the boat. I'd be back in Europe, because it is muggy. Because it's not that far away from the Atlantic shore, there's a fair bit of breeze all the time, particularly at midday. I mean, it is the sun which it's the convection which causes the breeze to come up. So there's a fair bit of breeze, and that's great because it keeps the mosquitoes away, which is otherwise a bit of a problem. People do give me odd looks because I'm talking to myself. Bonjour, monsieur. They're not quite sure what I'm at. Here, yes, you can see better. As I get to the end of the pontoon here, you can see better where the boats are out on their mooring buoys. And there must be upwards of 100 boats out there. As you can see, this boat here is gardenage by a company called Loco Yacht, and apparently, according to the Marina people, who are very, very nice, speak great English, absolutely charming people, there are half a dozen gardenage companies that look after boats for you while you're away. So basically you can leave the boat in the water. It's a problem. It's a problem to get her hauled out for the winter. You have to book about a year in advance, and the cost for 6 months of the winter would be probably around £1,500, £2,000. So yeah, it's not a bagatelle. I have a feeling that you take a chance on it and you leave the boat afloat and you use one of these gardenage companies, and these gardenage companies will come around your boat once a week, check the batteries, check the bilges, make sure nothing's happening that shouldn't be, and the charge for that is €200 a month. There are 3 or 4 of them, as I say. The Marina office said that when I asked who was best, they said, when you come to book it, we'll point you in the right direction to the best one. But basically, their intention is to come round once a week, check the boat out. If there's a hurricane coming in or there's really strong winds coming in, then they modify your lines, they increase the lines, they do what's necessary to look after the boat. Insurance. I was totally wrong. I'd looked on the internet, I had really sent a lot of emails, I tried really hard, and when I got here to Martinique, to Saint-Marin, I found a company called April Assurance. They're a proper brokerage here just beside the Marina, just in this next section down, and the deal they've offered me for Golden Haze, which is a Beneteau 323, is €1,250 for a year in the water, including single handing. I guess in pounds sterling that's around £1,000 a year, and in the UK, which doesn't have hurricanes, or rather in Boulogne, which in northern France, which doesn't have hurricanes, I'm paying £600 a year. So I think that's a pretty good deal. So for £1,250 a year, I can keep the boat in the water permanently here in Le Marin, with obviously a gardenage looking after it. I can sail it single-handed from between Trinidad to Puerto Rico to the ABC Islands, and if I want to extend further, if I want to go to the Bahamas or Mexico or something like that, I just have to get an extension just like you would in Europe. So Golden Haze, I've put a value of 35,000 quid on her for insurance purposes. No idea if that's right or wrong, but that would more or less cover the costs in terms of a complete write-off. So that's it. April Insurances, or whatever they're called. You can keep your boat here in the Caribbean for around 50%, 30% to 50% more than what it's costing you in the UK or Europe. Good news, huh? I did look at a couple of boats that were for sale here, and the problem with them is that they're all tired. They're mainly charter boats. The Caribbean is 95% charter boats. People coming here for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks holiday in a sailboat or a motorboat even. There are just hundreds upon hundreds to be rented everywhere from the British Virgin Islands, Saint Martin, there's some in Guadeloupe, I think, Martinique, St. Lucia. There's a vast charter base in St. Lucia, Grenada, and of course Trinidad. And people come in, actually not so much charter out of Trinidad, that's more the yards, to be fair. People come here for a wonderful summer holiday, and that's the issue I'm mentally having at the moment. What I'm not sure about is if being based somewhere like this with the boat is actually going to be as much fun as I think it is. Undecided of the Caribbean, and that's me at the moment. I'm sitting here in this lovely beach bar in near to St. Anne at a place called Les Salines, the salt marshes, which are just further up the road, which I'm going to look at in a moment. And I still don't know if moving Golden Haze out here to the Caribbean is the right thing to do. The problem, it seems to me, is that whilst this beach bar is lovely, and there are beach bars like this throughout the Caribbean, although this is probably one of the nicer ones because it's less touristy and less full on, even if it is in the middle of a tropical rainstorm at the moment, is that one beach bar is very much like another. And when you've sat in them for a week or a fortnight, that's probably enough. And what there isn't out here in the Caribbean is any ancient culture, is any history. They're all a bit the same. They're all a bit large amounts of poverty, a fair smattering of people making a good living, and a few really, really wealthy people up in the Bahamas living the life of Riley. I don't know. I really don't know. This part of it is lovely, and I'm really glad I've come out here. The marina, the boatyard, absolutely brilliant, absolutely superb. But is there enough to occupy you mentally for 3 or 4 months of the year sailing your boat round these islands? I don't know. Cost of a 32-foot boat in UK pounds. Marina fee annual, £3,000. Insurance, fully comp, including sailing single-handed and including all the way through the hurricane season, £1,100. Gardenage for 18 months is £1,600. Haul out at the yard, splash with pressure hose off and 3 free days is £400. Return airfare to Martinique is £400, including Channel Tunnel to Paris to get a connecting flight. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please press my subscribe button wherever it is down there in the corner, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. What the hell, it's all good fun, isn't it? Fair winds, safe landfalls. Bye.